What's up, y'all? I got a few minutes to hop on the net and share my thoughts. I finally got some quality recording equipment after multiple tries over the years with different pieces of equipment. None of them really panning out the way I wanted them to. But this new DJI mini mic seems to be going in the direction I would want. So I'm happy about that. Hold on, let me turn up the brightness on this thing. Bam, there we go. All right, so like I said, I got a few minutes to test out this new recording equipment that I bought, the DJI mini mic. And I wanted to holler at y'all because I know I've been going for a while. I'm very busy. Work has been crazy. I'm a parent, I'm a husband. And work has been very demanding, you know. But it's paid well, you know, over the last couple months. It's paid well. Or the last couple weeks, I should say. But that's where I've been at. Now, let's talk briefly about this Shreveport, Louisiana tragedy that happened recently, right? I'm on my way to the gym, so I'm gonna get it in with y'all, chop it up for a few minutes before I get there. But I was getting ready to step out to the gym, right? And something crossed my mind. And it was about the hypocrisy that I see surrounding the public outrage regarding the Shreveport, Louisiana tragedy. Because that's exactly what it is. A tragedy. You know, one of my favorite comic books is Superman Godfall. And, you know, in the comic book, there's a saying, and I quote, "When one of your children dies, how do you go on?" It's a real question. And let me be the first one to say that what happened, what this man allegedly did, Shamar Elkins, age 31, Shreveport, Louisiana. What he did was unacceptable. All kinds of criminal, morally reprehensible, and no way that anybody can approve of what he did. Now, having said that, I want to pull back from the obvious, because that was just the obvious that I just said. And I want to focus on the lesser or not addressed parts of the story that I think definitely deserve attention. I realized something this evening as I was getting ready. I realized when I look at the comments section of different articles on Facebook, all these women and some men making posts and responding about what happened and talking about how, you know, that man was wrong for what he did. And I realized that most of the comments I see aren't saying just that man was wrong for what he did. Most of the comments I'm seeing are talking about men in general, men as a whole. And the way my mind thinks, the way I look at things, I look at a very simple qualifier in details. I look for patterns. And when we look at the pattern of what happened in Shreveport, Louisiana, and the congressman who looked pretty young, but stole the life of his wife in the basement of their home while the kids were upstairs, we're looking at patterns. And I know that a number of people have been drawing the comparison between the fact that these are both black men in America, or these are both men in America and they're both black. But I think we need to look at some other factors as well, because there's more to the story than just here are black men who have hurt black women recently. Yes, there's truth to that. Yes, it's unacceptable. But I want to look at possible triggers that could have led to this behavior. And here's why I bring it up. In one of the articles I read, which is probably what prompted me to start making this video this evening, I noted that according to the news article, Shamar Elkins had reached out to his father or some family member before the tragedy. And he had said something to the effect of, I don't know if I can keep living like this, or, I wish I had had my kids by a different woman, something to that effect. And I think anybody, even a blind man, could tell you that was a man who was suffering and who was reaching out for help. More importantly than a man who was suffering and reaching out for help, that was a man who was in need of emotional support, emotional intervention, assistance, call it what you will. The guy needed some backup. And I'm not saying that it was someone else's responsibility to jump in and help him, but I am saying that he needed a certain support, and for whatever the reason, he didn't get it before he did what he did. He acted out in an unacceptable, unforgivable manner. I'm a parent. I love my son. I have protected my other sons, and I will continue to, whether they disappoint me or not. I love them all. There's a special type of love, though, I have for my biological son. And when you look at the fact that this man, Shamar Elkins, was the biological father of all these children, it makes you think about how much love and attachment did he really have to the children he created. Because in my opinion, making all those children in the first place is incredibly physically irresponsible. Not to mention emotionally irresponsible, because you're not going to have time to give all those children all your time and love. I have one biological child and a teenager, and we live together. And let me tell you, my teenager doesn't get as much attention as he wants or deserves, because I have a special needs toddler and he takes a lot of attention. And my wife is with him most of the time, because when I'm not with him, I'm working. This is the first time I went to the gym in, I don't want to say even how long. I'm embarrassed to say, but it's been a long time. I spend a lot of time working or being a parent. I'm a very busy person. So factoring all that in, all the projects that I'm trying to get done, but I literally, they've been on the back shelf, the upper shelf for a long time, because I just don't have time to get to them between everything else I'm doing. I mean, I can't see why somebody would, from a logical perspective, choose to have all those children. I wouldn't do it. I mean, one child is enough. Then you got to concern yourself with daycare, and it's just incredibly irresponsible. I wouldn't do something like that. And I don't think it's wise for a man to do that. And this guy was younger than me. This guy was younger than me by like 12 years. So there's no excuse. But once again, we need to pull back from the obvious and look at the big picture. And the big picture tells me this. This was a guy who had mental health issues. And so I posed the question to you, which I don't see anybody else asking. Do people who struggle with mental health challenges deserve the same amount of attention and public recognition as the guy who committed this heinous crime, Shamar Elkins? I'm not going to answer that question. I'm posing this question because I want us to think about this from a different perspective. I'm not saying to ignore or forget what happened. Nobody can do that. What I'm saying is, look at the big picture, pull back, take emotion out of it, and look at it analytically. This was a guy, let's not forget, this was a veteran who needed emotional support, intervention, and assistance. And he didn't get it. Are veterans who struggle emotionally? Are they not deserving of emotional mental health support? Or should we only talk about people, who have done something criminal? Oh yeah, and by the way, they just so happen to be a black man. Like, what's more important here? The fact that this guy's a black man, or the fact that he was someone who was in need of intervention and he didn't get it? There are plenty of people who would have done something reckless had it not been for the intervention of someone who stepped in to help them past the moment they were going through. There are many people like that. I know. So we have two different things we can look at right now. Not just the fact he was a black man, that's the obvious. We can look at the fact that this was a guy with mental health problems, and he was in need of severe, immediate mental health intervention. Why is nobody speaking out for? Why don't we see a bunch of articles saying, here was somebody who needed mental health intervention, he didn't get it? I mean, when we have school shooters and, white people going around committing heinous crimes of the deletion type, the news is quick to say, he was going through this and he was suffering that and he had a bad day, and somebody hit his dog, or somebody was mean to his cat, and something. There's always some kind of sympathetic angle that the mainstream media paints. I've been around long enough to see this. I might not look like it, but I've been around. I've been reading and watching videos long enough to know how the mainstream media paints criminals based on their racial complexion. And I'm not saying that this guy deserved to have sympathy. What I'm saying is there's hypocrisy, and I'm calling it out. Now, the third angle I want to present before I get to the other big point of this video is this. This was a guy who was suffering from mental health issues. Where's the public outrage for those in need of mental health support? This is an Army veteran who was in need of intervention. Where's the public outrage in speaking up for veteran assistance? The third angle is a tie-in to the congressman who stole the life of his wife in the basement of their home recently. Men who are going through divorces. Yes, not all men are stone-faced, unfeeling creatures. There should be more support groups, widely known and readily available, for men or women, but in this case we're talking about men who are experiencing the trauma of divorce. Now, of course, you're going to have some people go in there and try to get assistance who don't deserve it, who might be the actual cause of the divorce, who didn't pull their weight, etc., right? But I'm not talking about people who have done wrong. But even if I were, that kind of support should be unbiased. It should be available to all, because intervention is a great way to intercept and prevent catastrophe. I've gotten into arguments with people. I've lost my temper, and I've had my wife just call my name once. This happened last year. She called my name one time. I snapped out of it. The person was still going off. I said nothing to him. I didn't say nothing else, because I recognized that my wife was trying to save me from going overboard, from going too far. So I caught myself. Intervention is an excellent tool to reduce catastrophe. This is not about blaming other people for their actions. But what I'm saying is, no one else that I've seen is speaking up and saying, there are veterans suffering, or let's use this as a way to, launch a campaign to support emotionally embattled veterans, or to support men who are getting divorced. No, I'm just seeing over and over, man bad, man hurt you, black man dangerous. Ooh, that black man, he gonna get you. Like that's the main recurring theme that I see in the comment sections of these articles about what Shamar Elkins reportedly did to his family Saturday or Sunday of this weekend that just passed. But you know the one thing I don't see? The mainstream media. I don't see a whole bunch of articles on the internet talking about, I had to bring it home. I had to hit y'all with some fire to wrap this video up, right? The one thing I don't see is a bunch of articles in the news talking about all these white women in the news, in the school system, who are essaying all these children, and it just keeps happening. It's been happening for years. And yet, they get arrested, they get prosecuted, and another female pops up, usually of the Caucasian variety, to do the same kind of behavior. Heck, some of these women are even getting pregnant by these teenagers. But according to you, we're not supposed to talk about that. According to you, that's not a big deal. According to you, this is more important. And I ask you, why the hypocrisy? What hypocrisy, you say to me? And I say, why is it that it's okay to talk about these children who were harmed in an unforgivable way, reportedly by Shamar Elkins, but it's not okay to talk about these children who are scarred for life because of the actions of a selfish adult who preyed on a child? Why is the epidemic of female teachers preying on students in a place where parents trust their kids to be safe, the school system? Why is that not being discussed? Why is one worthy of discussion, but the other one is not? That's the question I have. Nobody said don't talk about this. I'm saying give equal levels of accountability to both issues. And that's not something that I'm seeing happening. So I'm starting the discussion because I'm a parent. I love my toddler. I love my teens, my teen and my young adult. And I wouldn't have wanted any of them to have experienced essay from an adult or anybody. I can't accept that. I can't live with that. And I won't accept it. So I'm at the gym. My wife's waiting on me to get done so I can get back home. But yeah, man, I think we need to expand our conversations to include all criminals, not just the ones that is easy to point the finger at. It's easy to attack the black man. The black community is in disarray. But have you looked around lately? I mean, there's other communities in disarray as well, and we need to discuss that as well, because all children deserve protection. All human beings deserve assistance and intervention when they have a problem in life. And no one could have foreseen what Shamar Elkins did. What he did was unforgivable, unacceptable, 100% criminal. But I wonder how many of you will take this experience, this story, this tragedy as a learning example to say, this is what we need to do better moving forward. I need to support those in my family who say they're having a rough day, who need a listening ear. Maybe I can go online and find resources for them. Tell them where to go to get assistance. Have somebody from an agency give them a call, to support my family member when they're going through an emotionally trying time. No man is an island. And saying not my problem, let somebody else deal with it, that's a surefire way to lead to tragedy when intervention could have been the solution. I'm out of here, y'all. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.